The story I want to tell you is not for the faint of heart. This story happened in Russia and shook me so much that I no longer feel safe around strangers or even 12-14 years old teenagers. After all, the main characters in today's story are about that age. In this story, everything is so brutal that other murder stories pale in comparison. If you're not afraid to hear it, welcome to my channel where I talk about real crimes and phenomena from different parts of the world. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel and let's begin. Our story takes place in Russia and starts in the city of Rubtsovsk, which is a small and quiet town. However, this town is far from developed, with crime and terrible events happening frequently. Here, education and architecture have been stuck in the 20th century. The houses where people live were built during the Soviet era and still stand today. In one of these houses, Arkady Zverev was born in 1996. He was a late child for his mother, who gave birth to him when she was 40 years old. Before Arkady's birth, she worked as a postal worker, but 20 years ago she was attacked and severely beaten, which left her disabled. She raised her son on disability benefits alone. Her husband was unfaithful, so she had to kick him out. Arkady's childhood was tough. His mother was disabled. He came to school hungry and dirty, and there was no money to buy what he wanted. As a result, Arkady grew up as a withdrawn and closed-off child, which affected his school life. His peers called him extinguished due to his unkempt appearance and modest behavior. Naturally, he had no friends at school. Arkady always tried to escape poverty, looking for any job he could find during his school years. But due to his schizophrenia, many employers wouldn't hire him. Eventually, he decided he would become a musician. One day, the school conducted a psychological assessment of the students, testing their mental stability. Arkady failed his test and was put under the supervision of a psychiatrist and prescribed strong medication to suppress aggression. As he grew older, Arkady became someone who could easily start a conversation with anyone, even the homeless, and he believed they needed help. So at the age of 19, Arkady met a former prisoner named Alexander, who is in a difficult life situation and had nowhere to live. Zverev offered his new friend to move in with him. One day, while they were relaxing and drinking alcohol, having a heart-to-heart conversation, Alexander unexpectedly confessed to Arkady about a horrible crime. He admitted that he had killed his mother. This confession enraged Arkady so much that he grabbed a kitchen knife and attacked Alexander. Covered in blood and terrified, Alexander ran out of the house and reported the incident of the building manager. She decided to check the house and call the police. The house was covered in blood, but Alexander survived. In court, the victim stated that Arkady had been taking the medication prescribed to his sick mother. Arkady was declared insane and sent for compulsory treatment in a psychiatric hospital. He eventually went through this period calmly. Sometime later, Arkady met his first love, a 16-year-old girl named Olia, a beautiful and kind girl who, despite her natural caution, reciprocated the feelings of this strange and somewhat mysterious guy. He had no money, so despite her grandmother's strong objections, the young couple decided to move in with Olia. Unfortunately, their relationship did not go well. They often had disagreements and fights, and even Olia's parents and elderly grandparents suffered from their conflicts. During one particularly heated argument, Arkady, unable to control himself, brutally beat Olia's grandfather, which was a severe shock for the whole family. In 2017, Olia and Arkady decided to leave their hometown. The girl took 100,000 rubles or $1,100 and one pink suitcase with her belongings. They first went to the city of Novosibirsk. Olia enrolled to study psychology but couldn't last long, and the couple decided to move on to the city of St. Petersburg. The lovers settled in the suburb of the northern capital Marina, in the Devatkino district. Olia got a job selling donuts and worked part-time as a cleaner. However, Arkady was in no hurry to work. He dreamed of a career in a music band or mastering the craft of a tattoo artist. For a while, the young couple survived on instant noodles and cheap sushi. Then Olia reconciled with her family, and they transferred her $40,000 or $450 to buy a tattoo machine for Arkady. 4 days after this event, misfortune struck Olia. The girl fell from the balcony of the 9th floor of a high-rise building on Marina, although they live on the 4th floor. Arkady was sound asleep at the time. Later, he posted a long message on social media confessing the shock he had experienced. Arkady was not charged in connection with his lover's death. He moved out of the apartment in Marina and soon went to work in the capital city, Moscow. But before that, through a friend who worked as a clown at events, Dmitry Kasanov, he acquired a Venom costume, the anti-hero from the Spider-Man franchise. All summer, Zverev tried his hand at being a street performer. He He stood on the street and earned money by taking pictures with anyone who wanted. In September, he spent all his earning on a vacation in Sochi. In Sochi, Arkady met a 20-year-old girl named Valeria Yargina, a girl who grew up in a troubled family. Her mother was a prostitute and her father was a pimp. This is how Valeria came to be. She never experienced the love of a mother or father. Both her parents let her do whatever she wanted. They didn't scold her for coming home late at such a young age, didn't know who she was friends with, and didn't give her the love that normal parents should. Therefore, until she was 4 years old, she was raised by her aunt. This inevitably affected Valeria's future behavior. Because of this, she was very cruel. Once she killed a cat in a very brutal way, and by the age of 10, she had set fire to a place where homeless people were sleeping. People around this girl believed that she simply lacked a sense of reality. No one explained to her where the line was between the anime she watched obsessively and real life. She simply wasn't raised properly. When Arkady and Valeria first met, Valeria started to use his age for her own advantage. She could, for example, touch any teenage boy and make him angry, provoke him into a fight, and then tell Arkady the story in such a way that Arkady would deal with the offender. As a result, Arkady beat up several teenagers in Sochi for Valeria's sake. Later, Valeria along with Arkady ran away to St. Petersburg. 4 days later, Valeria's mother reported her daughter missing. At first, they had no money and lived in the basement of residential buildings, eating cheap fast food, which they mostly stole from restaurants. They lived like this until one day they met Alexander Popovich in a fast food restaurant. The guy allowed them to live in his old house located in the village of MGA, 50 kilometers from St. Petersburg, for a symbolic fee. This place turned out to be suitable for Valeria and Arkady to hide from the search for a few days. The next day, Alexander came twice to visit the couple, once during the day and once in the evening. During the day, a conversation started between Alexander and Valeria. At some point, Alexander suggested that Valeria sleep with him, but she refused. After that, Arkady and Valeria bought a large meat-cutting knife at a local supermarket. By this time, the police were already close to finding them, but since it had gotten dark, they decided to continue their search the next day. In the evening, Popovich decided to visit his new tenants, heading to the same village where Arkady and Valeria were now living. The couple greeted him warmly, inviting him to the table and buying alcohol to celebrate this visit. The conversation and friendly atmosphere lasted until late in the evening, and realizing it was too late to return home, Alexander decided to stay overnight with his new friends. Meanwhile, Valeria told Arkady that Alexander had made advances toward her during the day. Hearing this, Arkady, in a fit of rage, grabbed the knife and rushed to kill Alexander. Alexander tried to fight back with his bare hands and somehow stopped Arkady, fearing for his life. However, both young men were drunk, so Alexander couldn't manage to defend himself. Arkady inflicted several knife wounds on him, striking Alexander's vital organs. Alexander died instantly that night. Then began the most shocking part of the story. The accomplices did not call an ambulance or try to flee the crime scene. This unrefined and brutal couple first sawed off the victim's hands and then his head, deciding to cook it in the microwave. I can't imagine how inhumane one must to be first kill someone and then, unafraid of what they had done, proceed to such acts. The horror didn't end there. I'm afraid YouTube won't appreciate this, but I'll try to explain. After they took the skull out of the microwave, they removed the eyes and along with the brain began to eat it after frying it in a pan. I almost threw up while writing this script, but I warned you at the beginning of the video. They used skewers, a hacksaw, and various cutting tools. Ultimately, this gruesome act led them to attempt to flee further north in Russia. The next morning, police officers who were already searching for them arrested them at the station. Arkady turned pale, became confused, and started to panic. Ultimately, they were taken to the police station. A little time passed, and Arkady's trial began. He tried to justify himself, not even expressing regret for his action or saying anything towards Alexander's family, revealing his inhumane behavior. He seemed completely devoid of human morals. When asked why he tasted the victim after the murder, Arkady replied he had always been curious about the taste of human brains. After the trial, Arkady was placed in a pre-trial detention center. Coming to his senses, Arkady repented what he had done and even attempted suicide in his cell. He was pulled from the noose at the last moment but never regained consciousness. He died after lying in a coma for 2 months connected to life support. The cannibal was buried near St. Petersburg. Valeria's fate was softer. When she was caught, she was not tried because of her age and was simply sent back to Sochi. However, she wasn't returned to her parents as they had lost their parental rights by that time. In 2018, Valeria went to a regular school, entering the 6th grade. But that's not all. According to one of her classmates, there was an incident in the cafeteria where Valeria and her classmates were discussing various dishes like steak, pizza, and meat. At that moment, the 12-year-old cannibal mentioned that she didn't like regular food because she preferred human brains. After this conversation, the parents of the schoolgirls started protests and Valeria was eventually expelled from the school. She was transferred to a closed-type school. Alexander Popovich's mother commented on the accomplices. I might have understood their actions up to that point if they had just killed him and left, but what they did afterwards shows that they knew exactly what they were doing. From Valeria's interview with investigators, it was hard to imagine that she had any morals. She said she didn't feel sorry for Alexander's mother, believing that she still had 2 other children besides him, treating a person like a doll. Valeria even said that people should feel sorry for Arcady's mother instead, as she was a mother with only 1 child. Spouting nonsense I don't even want to repeat. Any normal person would understand that no matter how many children you have, a mother loves all her children equally. A mother is someone who will always love you in childhood and adulthood, regardless of whether you are alive or not. What do you think about this? Do you believe it's right that she's still free? Write your opinion in the comments. I'd love to read it. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.